Two experts in ICF. Decades of experience. One podcast. Two hosts with a lot to say.
Look, I cannot sit through a struggle. I gotta get up and hustle. I gotta push through the pain, because really that's how you build muscle.
Welcome to the Build with ICF podcast with your hosts, Trevor Brown and Heather Herring Brown. Yep, they're a package deal. With over 20 years of ICF installation experience, Trevor can throw down some expertise on sales, marketing, and training. On the other side of the table sits Heather, aka the girl boss. And she's earned the title as the owner of an award-winning ICF construction company, a drafting and design company specializing in ICF. And the numbers? With a master's in accounting, she does that too. Sleeves up, boots on. This is the Build with ICF podcast.
I don't want nothing for free. I'm here to work. I've been through the dirt. I've been through the dirt. Yeah.
Well, I was going to say good morning, but it is morning. It's morning when we're recording right now.
Yeah,
so good morning.
Yeah.
Or whatever
you're back.
it is.
We've been, they didn't get to hear your voice on the last one. So.
That's true.
Last couple ones.
Yeah, I've been out of the office when you've been able to record and with guests, and so yeah.
It's usually my side is to be out on the road and you home, but it's working out that way. So 55. This is episode 55. So we're cruising on down the road.
We are.
Got over the 52 hump that we were shooting for, so that was good. But it's been tough. But as we're getting into later time of the year here, we're getting into when we can start getting some of this stuff done. And some of our awesome guests that we've been wanting to get on are available finally, just, as things are kind of slowing down. I guess technically Gary's probably not slowing down because it's super hot in the summertime. And so they don't build like it's winter down there. And then when the winter kicks in, they go and build. But we have, and we've been requested over and over again. So
and we're very excited to have him on today.
100%. A legend in the industry and somebody that everybody keeps asking about, Gary Fetters, ICF specialist, and also Castle Rock Construction. So Gary, thank you for coming on today.
Hey, I appreciate it. Thank you for having me on the podcast. That's a cool introduction. And, I enjoy talking about ICF and sharing how it's, changing the way we build.
Yeah. Well, if there's anybody that knows, it's you and your brother and you guys down there. And, so technically Phoenix, Arizona, I guess area would probably be the correct area.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah. We're west of Phoenix, but it's, you can't tell when you leave one city.
So like we were saying, we're getting into, today was the first morning I walked down my patio and there were actual sheets of ice on my patio. So this was, there was, it was actually frozen 30 degrees this morning. So you're now on the opposite side. You guys are finally getting cool enough where you guys actually enjoy being out and working to where it's not 1,000,000 degrees outside.
Yeah, that is correct. But our busy season always seems to be the hottest season, so I don't know why. They all wait until it gets 120 before they want to build.
It's the same for us where we get I'd say it's the cold snap, where that causes the brain to kick in, where everybody, and I've been, like I said, 24 years of doing this, and people still, every time we get a freeze or a cold snap, everybody goes, oh, I better get my concrete done.
Yeah.
It's going to snow next week. I better get this thing done.
Well, we did get snow like a week ago, and then all of a sudden our phones are and they're like, hey, winter's coming. We're like, yeah, every year about this time.
Every year. So,
right.
So Gary, I did want to talk, I think, and I'll set this up because I think we've got at least three episodes that we'd like to have you on here for. But today I just want to go over the basics and just kind of do an introduction, and tell us a little bit about your history. A lot of people, know you guys through social media and different things. If you're involved at all in the ICF industry, you've seen you guys around for a while. But can you take us back a little bit and tell us a little of your backstory and how you got involved in it and how you got doing what you're doing?
Yeah, absolutely, Trevor. So company is owned by me and my brother, Rod. We grew up in Missouri, so quite the same weather you guys got there. Both of us spent majority of our lives in the Air Force. And then when we got out of the Air Force, we decided to open a construction company in Arizona here, custom home building company. We named it Castle Rock Homes. Castle because, it's a castle like your home, and then Rock kind of because we're doing ICF. So kind of says what we're Castle Rock just fit the bill really well. So we opened up Castle Rock Homes with the emphasis on building all the houses with ICF, mainly for its energy efficiency. So we got started down that road in 2005, and the market treated us really well in 07 and 08 when it crashed. But luckily we were doing ICF, and it just took off like crazy. Like the next 3 years from the crash, we probably did 25 churches for the diocese.
Wow.
So that kind of sparked the whole ICF specialist company, sister company, because it was kind of a little strange going out to a commercial job site as Castle Rock Homes. And we had several other builders, the big custom builders in Scottsdale and Paradise Valley. And again, showing up as Castle Rock Homes on a, AFT custom homes job site. So we, deviate it, come up with its own business, ICF specialists. And then from there, we just started really marketing the ICF. And that's probably 80 or 90% of our work now versus the custom homes.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of like you, Heather, you just, designer, and then your other job, building houses, you find yourself busier with the design. And, and as you guys know, building a house for somebody is there's 10,000 steps there, and it's quite interesting. The business model, me and my brother talk about it. We say that Castle Rock takes 80% of our time and brings in 20% of the money. And
Yep.
an ICF
100%.
specialist, takes literally 20% of our time, and it brings in 80% of the profit of the money, because we sit here and we do the bid, and then we pass it along to the superintendents and the guys, and they build it, they stack it, pour it, we get paid, and we move on to the next one. So
Yep.
it's a little bit less stressful for us than a homeowner saying, look at this little scratch in the corner behind the toilet, whatever.
Or waiting for someone to pick out carpet, or doing.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Heather smiles because she knows exactly what we're talking about.
Oh, yeah.
They want it done yesterday, but they really, after 3 months of trying to pick their carpet and tile, they just can't quite pick out the shade of brown that they want.
Yeah.
And, so
born out of necessity. That's kind of what, I started with Innovative Custom Homes. Innovative Building Products came out of a necessity to stack block and not showing up on other builders' jobs as Innovative Custom Homes. Drafting company, same thing. So I think that's kind of how a lot of us progress in the ICF business.
Well, and you see that there's so many people, like you hit on it, and we talk to people all the time. And I first of all, I'll tell all of our homeowners that are listening, we love you, and we're not picking on you, but God, you make it hard sometimes. So be good to your general contractors and help move them along, because it is an issue. But anyways, no, we love our homeowners and stuff.
We do, we do love building the houses, though. It's a lot of pride in getting it all done for. Someone's new home. A lot of times their forever home.
Yeah. And I think with ICF, it's even more so because you get that feedback from them years down the road going, oh my God, I love my ICF home. I mean, whether it be with heat for you down there or cold up here, the people just like, oh my God, I can't believe anyone that would live in anything but. So it is definitely a great feeling to give somebody a home that they love. But yeah, that's the same thing with the big, on the, larger construction stuff. And that's what a good point to bring up with people. Cause I've been on the phone with a few people this week, actually, where they're setting up calls with me and their general contractor, because their general contractor doesn't understand ICF, and they're twisting some things around kind of in what they're saying. And so we're trying to get that more, that's on the consulting side, but like, it's great for us to they need to understand that there's companies like yours and ours where we can come in and be a subcontractor to you to come in and stack the ICF. You still can, call it, whatever, Jim Bob's home, custom homes, but we're just a subcontractor building the ICF part, and we will help you with all that.
Yeah. Just like the framer or the plumber, like there's not anymore. Like I remember, gosh, years and years ago. So when I was in middle school and high school, one of my friends, her dad built custom homes, and they did everything. Like her uncle was the electrician, one of her uncles was the plumber. But they did every single step. There wasn't like this list of subs. It was one group, and they so they only did a couple homes a year, and it's not like that anymore. So it's like an ICF, the stacking part, pouring the ICF walls. That's just another sub on your list.
Yeah, and we're going to jump into subs a little later, but I don't want to get out of order here, because I have a note to talk with Gary about the sub situation. But first of all, backstory a little bit. What specifically, coming from Missouri, going to Arizona, were you guys doing ICF in Missouri before you came to Arizona, or how did the ICF thing come into play, or why did you guys want to get involved in it?
That's a really good question. And I'll tell you, it was probably 30 years ago when I was in the Air Force here in Arizona. I went to a state fair in Flagstaff, and there was a guy there with a block called thermoblock, and it's a polyurethane block. Mm-hmm. It's like 8 inches by 8 inches by 24 inches. And I thought, and it had holes in it that you filled with concrete. And I thought, that is the greatest thing on planet Earth, that you're going to stack these little blocks, and and it's still a good block, but it's, come a long ways stacking these little tiny 8-inch block. And we did a couple houses with it later down the road, but that's what sparked my interest the most. I was like, we're going to build a house with foam blocks, and then we're going to fill it full of concrete. And I was always in the building. I went to building trades in high school and did a lot of stuff in the Air Force with Habitat for Humanity. So my dream was to always just get out of the Air Force one day and just build my own house. So I come across this and I start researching it. And then I come across BWICF, which was the ARC. It was ARCs. And I just literally dreamed about it for probably 10 or 15 years. And I just told my wife, as soon as I retire out of the Air Force, I'm going to build a house out of this block. So here we are in Arizona, and my brother got stationed here, and then we started doing some land acquisitions, buying and selling land. And then we thought, you know what, we're going to retire. We might as well just start building some houses. So about the day I retired, I was sitting on our lot, and we were stacking ICF for the first time. It was actually Nudura, because they had a distributor here in Phoenix. And then, so we just started building Castle Rock homes with it. But that state fair with the thermoblock is what started it. I just thought it was that's amazing. And then we come across the ARCs, and I'm like, what makes thermoblock look very antiquated, But so just, kind of got a love for it, a real passion for building something that, seriously is going to be here 500 years from now, I mean, this great structure, concrete and steel.
Yeah, just building better. I mean, that's the thing. It's like it sells itself. It's similar, and I've told our story on here, but same thing. My brother and I looking for a new way to build and kind of getting into SIP panel houses. We thought was the way we were going to go, and then we looked at ICF just to build the foundations. We're like, oh, this is cool. We could do our own foundations, then build SIPs on top, and then and at that time our rep, back in the day, it was when Randy Daniels first got into it, and all of a sudden I'm dealing with Randy Daniels, and he was we were BWICF at first, and then it went to ARCs, and then and so I'm dealing with Dalzell and Kana and all these guys that we've had on the podcast before, and Randy and stuff, and all guys and they it was like, you can build a whole house out of this. And I'm like, really? We could do a whole house? And then it was just kind of went from there. And once you do it, it's just like you get kind of realize, oh my God, this is actually a thing. And I mean, you guys have taken it so far as like and I don't know, maybe, we'll hit on this. Maybe you tell us how you guys got into there, who's responsible for the marketing side of things, because, you guys kind of got famous with the Lego house. Like, I think people if you just Google ICF houses in images on Google, you're going to pull up your guys' full-size Lego house, when you guys literally took and painted full-size blocks and in the primary colors of Legos, and basically stacked an actual house. So you tell us a little bit about that. Whose brainchild was that? Because I think it may be one of the most famous marketing things in ICF history.
Yeah, it's fun. I really appreciate talking to you guys. Yeah, so we and Rod, just started out, and we're sitting here, struggling with the houses in the 2008 year, and the diocese come along. We're doing those churches, and then we started doing some schools, and we had probably 25 guys out there in the field stacking, and then we picked up a distributorship for Build Block. It was just something that happened. It come along, and Build Block was a great block, and still is a great block, and then, you know what? We had lunch with a couple guys. I think this is where it started. Sometimes you just, life is funny sometimes, but we had lunch with these guys, and they were a couple local distributors in Phoenix that distribute ICF block. And they told me and Rod, you guys, the hell are you guys doing? You guys can't distribute and install block. And we said, why not? He goes, that's not the way it works. You're either an installer or you're a distributor. And I was like, well, I haven't heard any rules that you can't distribute the block and install it. And they told us that, just so you know, it's not the way you do it, and you can't do it. And I told Rod, we left the meeting. I told Rod, I said, let's market the shit out of this. So we did. We started these. There is one year, I think I made my brother sick to the stomach. We did 16 trade shows in 1 year. And I'm talking home and garden show, gun shows, women's expos. I mean, you name it. Good Guys Car Show, Barrett Jackson's. We just hammered it. And that's a lot of shows in 1 year.
Yeah.
And we were doing survival shows, just anything we could get into. And you do a show and you don't get done with it, and 5 people call you and say, hey, I want to build with ICF. So it's years later, they got your name. And I had a guy the other day say, I seen your block like 4 years ago, ready to build.
Yeah,
and they hold on to
true.
that thought, kind of like I did in the state fair there. I held on to it for 10, 15 years before I actually built. But people just want to, they love it. And one of the biggest questions we get when we're at the shows, why isn't everybody building with it?
100%. Yeah.
And we're like, we're trying,
I know
we're trying, but just that really kind of guerrilla kind of style marketing, we just hammered it. And, and it just got fun. And I'll tell you, one of our best shows, we didn't even know it was going to be a good trade show, was we were at a gun show with my dad, and I'm looking around and everything's this fortified, protect your family, shelter, and, whatever goes along with guns and survival, and I told my brother, I said, you know what, this might be a good venue for our block. It's bulletproof, it's fortified living. And so we go up there, and I'll never forget, we, the home and garden shows were costing us about $2,000 for a 10 by 10. And I went to the lady and go, how much are your booths? And she goes, you get 8 foot for $60. And I said, all right, well, give us 8 booths in your next show, And she goes, what, 8 booths or something? And I said, yeah. And so we go down there. I tell you, like, this was like yesterday, and this was probably 18 years ago. And me and my brother's walking in there with the block, and he's like, oh, we're going to do this? What if people start laughing at us or something? I said, you know what? Let's do this. We'll start it on Saturday morning by noon. If we just people are like, what the hell? We just won't show up on Saturday or Sunday.
Right.
So we walk in there and we set up our booth, and we were absolute the highlight of the show. Me and my brother still remember, we had both of us, 2 superintendents, and our sons there. And I remember at the end of the show that the McDonald's sack for lunch was still sitting there because we didn't have time to eat.
Yeah.
We were talking all day long, and people love that it's bulletproof, especially in that, you find these niches, people want it for energy efficiency mostly, but a lot of people just want it for that fortified building that's bulletproof, it's solid concrete. And so, yeah, we just started hammering those shows and marketing. And then it just, just created a real good interest for it. And people just still call us from some of those shows,
Yeah, it is wild. It's a long play on a lot of that stuff. And I agree with you. We get people that were still like, oh yeah, we saw you at this show, or we did this, 5 years ago. And you're like, oh, okay, good. Like people pop through. It's just takes that time. But yeah, I love how you bring up like the niche thing. Cause there is, like, I look at it, when I was managing 13 states, I had different sales pitch in every state. Where I got off the plane, I had to figure out which sales pitch I was using, because everywhere is a little bit different. And there was definitely areas where, it's seismic, and there was areas where it was hurricanes, and there was areas where it was heat, and there's areas it was cold, and there were areas that it was the safety side of it, or the ballistic testing and stuff like that, up to 50 caliber, and all these different things. And it is funny, like as soon as you started talking, I'm like, yeah, Southern Utah. I sold in Southern Utah quite a bit because of people wanting that fortified home, So
yeah,
super crazy how you just different avenues for everything, but it's pretty cool. So that is amazing how you see just the continue, how it went from literally just you starting as somebody, wanting to build your own home and then falling in love with the product. I think that's what a lot of people do with this product. And I've seen so many people throughout the years that do get involved, build their house, and then they go, hey, how do I start selling this stuff? I think like Dave Kopp up in,
Yep.
he just called me while we were on here, maybe top of mind. So hi, Dave. But, built his house and he's like, hey, how do I get involved with this? Do you need sales guys? How do we do, can I be a distributor? Different things, because people just want to get involved because they're such believers.
Sure.
Which makes it easy to sell. I mean, you're just selling it because you love it. So it's pretty crazy, but.
Absolutely.
Well, tell us about the Lego house. Tell us how that came about.
Okay. Yeah. It ties a lot into the shows that we did. People come up and they look at this block and they go, what is this? And we explain to them, you stack it up, put some rebar in it, fill it full of concrete. Oh, so it stacks up like Lego blocks. And I was like, yeah, kind of like Lego blocks. So we said that probably 10,000 effing times. And it's funny. We do some of these shows and some of the younger kids show up that's in college and they're in engineering degrees or something. They come up and they go, wow. And I go, you ever seen this before? And they say, no. And I start explaining it to them. They said, no, you don't. I got it. I see it. You don't have to explain. I see what you're doing, and it's like, oh, I'm glad that you're getting it. And I don't sit here and explain it. But so it was like Lego blocks. So then we was building the house and my brother said, let's paint these damn things like Legos. And we had a couple extra guys just slow. So, but all this paint and spent 3 or 4 days painting that block.
Oh, I bet.
and then stacked it up, and that's a good video. I thought it'd get more hits on YouTube, but it did go viral on Facebook.
Yeah.
Like I bet the very first day we had 20 or 30 minivans with kids and their moms out front driving by, taking a look, and we had to get a fence around it because people were showing up at night coming in onto the job site, and, but literally for months we could see on camera the little minivans pulling up and kids in little Lego costumes. So it did, like, I don't know really what viral is, but it went viral on in surprise on the Facebook thing. So, but, and it was fun. And so we got the house done and actually sold it to a guy. He come by and took a look at it, and I don't even think he knew it was what ICF was. And then we had to tell him that, and he was super excited about it. Actually, he ended up looking for a job and we hired him. He was a retired police officer for 30 years and really just kind of wanting to do something. And he goes, if you guys need a superintendent, somebody kind of just, check out your houses and do quality checks. So we hired Bill, that bought the Lego house, and he's still working for us. It's been about 7 or 8 years. So
does he still live in the Lego house?
He does. He still lives in
Nice.
Well, that's a cool ending to that story. And I'll put a link in the show notes to it. I'll link a photo to that because it is funny. You pulled up and like I said, it's been a hot topic because I had a couple guys come after me because I do like to say Legos for big kids, and people are, it's not Legos. You're simplifying it too much. It's not. Like, I get it. I know it's an art and you can get screwed up, and I know. But anyways, a lot of people like that. So to anybody that's triggered by us talking about Legos, then sorry about that, but I'm going to keep doing it. But it's my podcast. I can do what I want. It is
Lego for big kids for sure. We are getting ready to do. It's in the very works of there's a Boy Scout lodge over here on our side of town, and we're actually going to build it as a no profit thing for the Boy Scouts.
Cool.
We're using ICF, and the Boy Scouts are going to be actually doing the stacking. And we were wondering. I was thinking about tossing around the whole Lego thing again and do a real promotion type of thing. The Boy Scouts, Scouting of America, is building their own lodge with these Lego blocks, and so it's gonna be a fun day. Hopefully 6 or 7 or 8 months we get that. We actually be starting to stack, and I think I'm gonna go ask the Air Force if they can send some guys over for like a safety backup, like just kind of keep an eye on everything, and just team it up as far as like the Air Force and the Boy Scouts and ICF specialists is doing this big thing, building the Scout Lodge for them.
That's awesome.
That's super cool. And I really hope to see that I think that one should be up for some awards here in a couple of years, maybe, or that'd be great to submit that.
It'd be something fun for sure.
That would do really well, I think, at the ICF awards. That's super cool. So So we're going to jump. I know you've got a hard stop. You've got meetings. You're a busy guy. So we're going to jump on to some of our questions here that we always like to ask and just kind of hit it up. And then, like I said, at the end, we have a really cool music video that you guys did. I'm going to put a link in the show notes, and it's pretty funny.
It's a super cool song. So we'll play a little bit of it.
We'll play a little bit on the extra as we're getting out of here, but we did want to make sure we get our little 3 questions in that we like to ask everybody.
So Gary, what is one of your most memorable experiences as a Castle Rock Homes or ICF specialist?
I can start with the Castle Rock home side. I built a house for an older couple over in Fountain Hills. It was an award-winning ICF house, had a basement underneath the garage, had a negative edge pool hanging off the backside of the mountain, and he had a recording studio in the basement. They just loved the ICF concrete floor. They pulled their cars in the garage and couldn't tell there was a basement underneath there. And that's where his recording studio was. And I remember going back over there about 3 years later to just checking in on him. I said, "How's it going?" They said, "It's going good. Haven't been on vacation for 3 years." And I said, "Oh, why not?" He goes, "Because we love this house so much, we don't need to leave." And I just thought that was amazing. And cool. And they were telling me the truth. They just love their house, the pool, the recording studio, the kitchen, and they just feel like it's a vacation home, and that's probably one of the most rewarding things I've heard anybody ever say, that they love their house so much they don't even go on vacation.
Their house is a vacation. That's
awesome.
Freaking awesome.
Yeah. As far as the ICF side of the house goes, you know what? To us, people call us and say, "What's the smallest thing you'll build?" And I said, "Well, the smallest thing we ever built was an 8-foot by 12-foot little shed that had ICF walls and ICF top." And we have on YouTube. We did it in one day, including the footers and the concrete. And so yeah, we dug the footers and had the concrete with the accelerator in it, poured it, stacked the ICF, put the top on it and everything, and stacked it and poured it and everything in just one day. That was kind of fun. But yeah, people call and say, we build things from hotels to, if you want a little backyard bunker, gun safe, whatever, we'll come out and do it, and because, it's just rewarding for us. Sometimes it's, obviously we're here to make a living and make money. But if somebody called me today and said they just want an 8x8 thing in their backyard, I'll sell them a block for that, or I'll come over and do it.
Right.
And it's fun. I say we'll be in and out of there in a day,
Mm-hmm.
So, but yeah, and we have done several of those. I actually built one for a guy that he distributes machine guns, and he needed 10-foot by 16-foot, really, really low, because the HOA couldn't have it coming over the walls. So he was like 5'6", and he wanted the ceiling in there 5'7". So I'm 6'2", so it was a pain in the ass me getting in there, shoring it. But that's his safe for his business, all the ammo and his machine guns, and it's 4 to 5.
Wow.
You're just not going to get in there, it's concrete top, bottom, lid, sides, and everything. So it's ICF. It's always rewarding. I know we're short on time here, and I'd love to come back on here and spend more time with you guys. But
yeah, you will.
The hotels, I really like the hotels because they really like them for energy efficiency, and then they pick up the sound. The soundproofing walls, because a lot of the hotels are on the interstates, and then the fire rating for safety of the people who live there. So I think some of my favorite projects are the hotels. And we did Hampton Inn about 5 years ago, and Hampton Inn did another one in Scottsdale at the same time, and it's wood and ours ICF. And then a couple of years later, they come out with a report of their energy bills. And the one in Queen Creek, they save $60,000 a year on their energy cost for that hotel. And I remember the ICF premium on it was like $360,000 more than wood, which sounds like a lot, but if you're making it back at $60,000 a year, that's a 6-year return on your money. And they said the nice thing is, though, that hotel with ICF is 20% more occupied. So it's even more than that. But when you hear those stories, And I think that's kind of leaked out to the hotel builders and stuff. And, we've done 2 this year and we're starting another one. It's money in their pocket. And besides that, it's just a better product, a safer product. And, it's a really good fit,
Yeah, and we talked about that. I interviewed you for an article for the ICF Builder magazine, and quoted that information in one of my articles that I wrote that you had given me. It's just amazing, such a no-brainer. You see why it's getting so popular with the hotel industry and the Catholic diocese and the fire stations and all the schools and different things, because it's operational costs, right?
Yeah.
So, okay, last question.
Well, no, we got 2 more.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, the
What
second.
Go
The
ahead.
second question is, you've talked about a lot of things on here and you've been in ICF for a long time. So what is something that you're looking forward to in the ICF industry?
Like a future product, something happening in the future for ICF, what do you get excited about?
We're excited when somebody comes in with a new block. We have them come in and we look at it, and typically it's a good product, but they give us the price and it's twice what Fox or Endura is. So it's a strikeout for us, but we're always looking for the new product, the new ICF, and, but it's hard to improve a foam block, and Fox and those guys did it when they made the block reversible, no top, no bottom, no left or right. That was what was the greatest thing ever. And, it's kind of a standard these days. Like if it's not reversible, we don't really entertain it too much.
Mm-hmm.
But looking forward to, just seeing it grow, just seeing it really grow. And I don't know how much longer we're going to be doing this, but I think I'd still like to always be involved with the sell of ICF block and see it, just continue to see it grow and multiply. When I know that Shamaplast here in Phoenix, the guy that foam manufacturing, they were going to get into a new building and it was going to cost them quite a bit of money. And they asked me and Rod, tell me this ICF is going to take off because we're investing a lot of money in this building. And we told him, Gerald, this is our last 3 years. And we just see it busier and busier. And Fox was requiring a cleaner facility, a bigger facility, and moving their molds in there. And then it was funny because, like, I don't know, 4 or 5 years later, Gerald was pulling his hair out because of block being shipped out 3 or 4 truckloads a day, and the warehouse is full, and they can't produce enough of it fast enough. I was like, how's that promise coming along with that ICF increasing? And yeah, he just smiles because it is. They're they ship everywhere, and Phoenix is a good place to ship out of. But yeah, I'd just like to see it continue to grow and see more and more people just using it,
I think all of us that have been in it for a while, we all look at it like one of our kids. Like ICF is actually older than my youngest son. So, my time in the business, right? Like he's 21. So it's like, but, so I think we all kind of look at it like it's one of our children and just get excited at the growth of all of it. I mean, it's why we do this podcast. It's like, it's not to promote, us personally, it's to promote the industry and just help it grow and see all these success it's having. So that's a great answer. That's totally something I agree with. So.
Yeah, and besides just wanting to see your product grow, it's just not selling T-shirts, but people are benefiting from this.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, they're saving on energy costs, and we all know that's not coming down. I mean, I just got my notice from APS; they're hiking our rates 18% next year.
Yeah,
that's significant. So I feel like it's besides us selling it and installing it, and it's our business. I really feel like it's a product that can improve your life with the clean air and the safety of it. I tell people, if you got kids, there's a 4-hour fire rating here, and it's just a safe, clean, money-saving way to build, and so it always feels good to see people getting something that I feel is completely worth their money. And, obviously coming from me, that sounds like a sales pitch, but truly, they're getting everything. It's worth every penny of it.
Yeah, I just got back from Palisades, California, and did the show down there with JJ Penna and those guys. And, there's 7,000 people down there that wish they would have built their house out of ICF. I guarantee you that. So it's firsthand. I got to meet people and listen to their stories. And so, yeah, it's nice to know that we're putting something out there that's going to keep people safe and save them money in the long run. They don't have to replace their house again, like a lot of those people have. So it's very, very true. But so we've got one last question was just, I'd always like to kind of end with you getting to make a little pitch for you guys. And we always say why Castle Rock or why ICF Specialists, like it's like just a little pitch for you out there for people to reach out to you and get in touch with you guys.
Absolutely. Yeah, that's a great question, and kind of comes back to, selling a good product. We do have a good product, but it comes back to, you got to love what you do. And I'll just pat me and Rod on the back, and our superintendents, we're just good people.
Mm-hmm.
We're honest people, and there's too many people out there, like Heather said, that subcontractors that take advantage of people are not showing up and doing their job. And I've got, I had a client in here yesterday, they're building in Sedona, and I wish I could go to Sedona and build for them, because they're struggling with some general contractors up there, and they're telling me some stories. And I'm like, that's not, sounds like it's not right. But there's too many general contractors out there that are taking advantage of people. This one guy was going to charge him $4,500 to sit down and talk to him and put a bid together for him. I told him, absolutely no. I don't know if anybody's doing that as a GC. I would never do that. But I just really feel like we're good people. We're honest and have a lot of integrity, and quality comes first. And if there's ever a dispute on something, I lean it towards them and get it fixed for them, And yeah, I wish there was more than that. We have more people like that. But that's who we are to the core, just treating people right.
Well, and I agree. And I like I said, I've always enjoyed talking with you guys and getting to, see you at some of the different shows and stuff. And you guys just have always been giving. I feel like you're always giving back to the industry. Like you guys are always, free, when the NRMCA came down and did the tour down there of all the ICF stuff, you guys, were very active in that and speaking at that and everything. And that was awesome. And so I appreciate everything you guys do for the industry. I think you guys have just raised it up a notch, and obviously between knowledge and everything you guys do to give back, it's a no-brainer to come work with you guys. So we'll put all that contact information in the show notes. Like I said, I know you've got to run off to a meeting here, so we're going to get you out of here. But I did promise we were going to extra with
which I've got it queued up. They have an ICF song that they have written, created a music video for, and it's called what does it say? Building homes.
Building Dreams at Last.
Yes, Building Dreams at Last. That's just perfect. So,
and you got to go check. I mean, I'll play this on here audio, but you got to go check out the video.
Just play a little bit of it because it's longer.
Yeah,
so.
It's long. But anyways, let's play a little bit of that real quick here, and then we'll extra out of here. Hold on just a second, Gary.
Sway on a farm where the sawmills hum all day. Used to build those homes with timber and nails, but now we're shifting gears. I'm on a new trail. From lumber to ICF, but the world's moving fast with ICF Specialists, building dreams that last. Lightweight, strong with blocks that fit so tight. From old frames to a future that's bright. ICF.
That's just a teaser. That's just a teaser for everybody to listen to and hear what's coming. So you can go click on the link and hear the whole song. But
and watch the music video. You'll see hilarious. The Lego house. You see all this stuff. It's awesome. It's so cool. So.
Thank you so much, Gary, for coming on. It's been great. And I will tease, we mentioned that we were going to talk about subcontract. So we've had some issues with people saying that subcontractors are charging way too much for working on ICF house when they actually should be giving you a discount. We're going to go over that. I've done that in previous episodes, but I want to get Gary's take on it. So we will turn around and get another episode on here with Gary very soon, I promise, as our schedules allow. So anyways, thank you, Gary. I appreciate you coming on and everything you do. And we'll be getting you back on here real soon, I promise.
Well, I appreciate the opportunity, and I appreciate everything you guys do, and marketing and pushing. And we'll get together. You guys probably be at the World of Concrete this year.
100%. Yep, for sure.
We'll hook up and have some lunch or something.
That'd be great. All right. Awesome. Thank you. And everybody, like I said, check us out at Build with ICF on all our socials. Hit us up at info@buildwithicf.com. If you got any people you want to request, just like you did request Gary to be on here, let us know who else you want to hear from and things you want to talk about. We're happy to get on there for you. So, and then obviously I'll put all the links and everything in here that we need to get done. So thank you, everybody. And we will catch you on the next episode.
Thanks, Trevor. Thanks, Heather.
Thanks.